Welcome to First Transit's May Safety Seminar. This month's seminar is on summer preparedness, injury prevention methods to keep yourself and your passengers safe. Those of you watching this on video or watching it on YouTube, please keep in mind, in order to get credit for watching this video, you need to complete the quiz, which you pick up from dispatch or the safety office, and you have to complete the quiz and turn it in to us, and you also then have to turn in your timesheet. We know that the video runs 1 hour, so we know what the time is should be on your non-rev sheet. So again, in order to get credit for this, you must take the quiz. You can pick the quiz up from dispatch, or you can pick it up from the safety office in order to get credit for this video. Again, this is Tracy, your safety manager here at First Transit East in St. Paul, Minnesota. We are talking about summer preparedness. What does summer preparedness mean to you? Another way to look at it is being prepared. Summer preparedness, what does that mean? Does that mean a heightened awareness of pedestrians? A heightened awareness of motorcycles, scooters, bicyclists? Yeah, it means all of the above. But we're also taking this a little further as we go through this in-service session. We're also talking about injury prevention methods to keep you and your passengers safe from whatever. At the end of this session, you will know and understand the following. Benefits of preparedness. What's that mean? The benefits of being prepared. I ask you, have you ever taken a test? Did you study for that test? Or did you go in at cold turkey, not knowing what was there, what to expect? I think most of us say we study, we prepare for these tests because we want to pass. That's the same thing with this. We're being prepared for the summer. We want to make sure we pass the summer. What's that mean? It means we make sure we survive the summer. We want to know the importance of mental fitness in our industry. Mental fitness is an important part. For those of you that have been around for the last couple sessions, that have actually attended these meetings, you will find out there's a new app out there that First Group America is partnered with. It's a group called Headversity. The app is called Headversity. The Dr. Ryan Todd is a clinical psychologist. He's the CEO and the co-founder of the app. He's going to talk to you about mental fitness and a little bit more about Headversity. So we'll understand, what is mental fitness all about? We will understand how to recognize and avoid hazards that may cause personal injury. We're going to understand proper body mechanics for pushing, pulling, bending, twisting. Yeah, I know you guys never do that. Okay, we know you do it a lot. Also, preventing injuries while walking or climbing. How do we look at walking and climbing? What are we climbing? Mount Everest? No. But we climb stairs every day. We step into our bus every day. Maybe you got stairs at home. You know, so it's about how to prevent these injuries while we're walking and climbing. Some of the best tools we have out there are some of the tools we've given you guys already. The 5 best tools. The 5 best tools that we've given you guys. Do you know what they are? We talk about them every day. The 5 keys to Smith system. You know, maybe it's aim high and steering is number 1, as you all know. But maybe it's not aim high and steering. How about if you're walking down a sidewalk? How about if you just aim high? See what's in front of you. Climbing the steps. See what's there. Are there objects on them? Is there anything you need to step around or remove before you get there? So it's about preventing injuries. So preparedness. Why is it important to think about preparedness? You know, we kind of talked about that a little bit. It's like preparing for a test. You want to be aware. I mean, there's things I do every morning as a routine. One of the first things I do every morning when I get up is I sit down and watch the news. It's not because I care about what happened in Washington, D.C. last night or what happened in downtown Minneapolis or St. Paul, but there's 2 things I want to take out of that newscast. It's one, I want to know what the traffic is. How's the traffic flow today? Are there crashes? Are there road constructions? Are there things that I have to look at? Do I have to leave for work early? Do I have to find a different route? It's about being prepared to get to my job. And the other part is the weather. What's the weather going to be like today? Now, as I sit here and look out my office window, it's overcast. It just stopped raining. It was pouring here. Did the weather guys tell me that? Yeah, they've told me it was going to rain all week. You know, for once, they're fairly accurate on that. So it's about being prepared. How do you prepare yourself before you come to work? How do you prepare yourself before you spend that weekend with your family or your friends? Then what are some situations that you should be prepared for? And that's what we're going to talk about. First one, excessive heat. I think you can agree in Minnesota it gets hot. But what comes along with Minnesota hot? normally excessive humidity as well. High heat and high humidity can cause a real problem for us. Excessive heat can be dangerous, especially for periods of time. And you drive those nice, cool, air-conditioned buses, right? Well, maybe not all the time. But think about it. The sun's beating down through all those windows in there. That makes it hotter. So I ask you the question, how do you prepare for that? Maybe those of you that bring a lunchbox and a cooler, put reusable ice packs in there. If you get too hot, put them on your head. Put them on the back of your neck. Put them under your underarms to help cool yourself. Bring, sports drinks. Bring water to make sure you stay hydrated. The problem now that we're going to run into in our day and age right now is those dreaded masks. Even though the governor of the state of Minnesota has reduced the mask ordinance, it does not affect us at this point in time. First of all, First Transit still requires masks to be worn in the building when you're in common areas. The city of Minneapolis and the city of St. Paul, both mayors have said we are going to keep the mask ordinance in those cities, so you got to be aware of that. Certain businesses may still require you to wear a mask, but even more important than that, the federal government requires it. There's an extension. If you guys recall, back in February, President Biden signed into an executive order a mask order for all federal transportation agencies. It's administered by this, recommended by the Centers for Disease Control and the Transportation Safety Administration, which means planes, trains, buses, rail. So that order was set to expire on May 7th of this year. On May 6th, they extended that order. So, as it says from our client, Metro Transit, this is a federal mask requirement issued by the Center for Disease Control, the CDC, and the Transportation Security Administration, the TSA, that is effective on Monday, February 1st, 2021, has been extended to September 13th, 2021. In short, all transit systems in the United States, including Metro Transit and Metro Mobility, which we're part of, must require all persons on board buses and trains to wear masks that cover both their nose and their mouth for the duration of the travel. Transit systems must use their best efforts to ensure all persons are wearing a mask. So, even though they've been lifted, we still have to wear that mask, and that is not taking it down when you don't have passengers on board. You need to leave that mask on the entire time you're on that bus. Once you step out of the bus, feel free to drop it down. Now, a lot of people out there wear cloth masks. If those get a little too hot and harder to breathe through, we have tons of paper masks. They're a little easier to breathe through. They're disposable. You can pick them up from Joe in his office. So, just be aware of what heat indexes are, what excessive heat is. Take precautions to keep yourself and others safe. So next we're going to go into a little talk about Headversity. Headversity is a tool that is available to First Transit employees and their families.
Hi everyone from First Transit. My name is Ryan Todd. I'm one of the founders and one of the Headversity experts on the platform, which is your daily resilience trainer. We are really excited to bring you some content today on mental fitness. You are going into a very strenuous and stressful time, that is the summertime, and we know that there are some unique stressors that are faced in the summertime, given the heat, given all the commotion, given the increased loads on your transportation, and we know that we want to keep ahead of that and practice some mental fitness skills going into this very stressful time. First and foremost, we're going to take a safety moment. And what we're going to do there is get you onto the Headversity platform if you have not logged in yet. What I'd like you to do right now, and we'll give you a moment to do this, is get out your iPhone or your Android, whatever mobile device you're using, go on to Google Play or the App Store, download Headversity, and then I will give you your personal resilience code so you can type that in and get your resilience score. We'll take a moment right now, give ourselves some permission to just have that safety moment, that mindful moment, get you onto the platform. Then we're going to get into some content and material on mental fitness. For those of you who are working directly for First Transit, obviously your code is TEAMFT. That is TEAMFT. If you have a family member, a spouse, a dependent who wants to get onto the platform as well, what we are trying to do is create a resilient ecosystem, having everyone training their resilience day in, day out, giving you the top evidence-based tools and skills to train this. You want to get a family member on this, their code is FGA FAM. First Group Americas, FAM, FGA, FAM. But for you, a First Transit employee. That is Team FT. I'll give you a couple moments now to get onto the platform, get your resilience score, and then we'll get into it.
Okay, let's start to talk about Headversity is a tool that is available to First Transit employees and their families. It gives us training in resilience, tips to promote mental health and well-being. Any of us that have gotten through the last 12 to 14 months are probably pretty resilient. But this is an excellent program. Once you log on to it, it's going to make you answer about 10 to 12 questions. It breaks it down and it gives you your resilience score. It's going to break it down to where you know. So, as we talk about, so much has changed for all of us over the past 14 months or so. It's been more stressful than ever. We can get closer to the summer months. Stress can become even higher. People who are used to going on vacations may not necessarily be able to. Some people might be getting close to the end of their unemployment compensation periods. Some people are dealing with a loss. Cases of depression may be higher. It's time to start focusing on our mental fitness, the well-being that will help us go a long way in ensuring that we can safely and effectively carry out our daily responsibilities, both at work and at home. It'll also help you build on your skills to deal with stressful situations you may encounter throughout your day. Whether it's that passenger that doesn't want to put his mask on because the governor said I don't have to. Well, there's more than one person out there we realize that we have to listen to. And right now, ours is the Federal Transit Administration and TSA. So, how do we prepare ourselves for our workday? We allow a few moments to prepare ourselves in the morning. Maybe it's that news station like I mentioned about. Maybe it's coming into work early to just sit down, relax, meditate. There are ways that we get ourselves together, and everybody's different. So again, a lot of it comes down to the basics we've talked about the last few months. Get adequate rest. Leave your problems at home if you can. Be mentally fit. Check the weather. Check the road constructions.
Excellent. Thank you for doing that. If you have any questions about the platform, info@headversity.com. We have a help desk ready to answer any questions about it. That is your daily resilience trainer, and you will think, feel, and be better with a couple of minutes of practice on the training tool every single day. And really, this tool is talking about a number of resilience skills. I am a psychiatrist. I train these skills with all of my patients and all the clients that I see, and we have Headversity across thousands, hundreds of thousands of users across North America who are helping themselves think, feel, and better through using this platform. And today we are going to talk about a skill known as mental fitness. Mental fitness is something that is tough to really define, but is easier to see. If you are a sport fan, if you watch football, or me personally, I watch hockey, I'm used to my teams and my favorite athletes choking, so I've seen people and individuals when they are not at their most mentally fit. We've also seen athletes at the top of their game thriving. So we take a lot of this literature, a lot of this research from sports psychology, when people need to learn these tools to perform. Let's say you are an Olympic athlete and you're at the top of a mountain, you need to ski down that mountain, and your event is like a 30-second event, and you've trained 4 years for this 30-second event. Now that is high pressure, that is high stress. What are the skills that those athletes use? Those are mental fitness skills. And the first concept that I want to talk to you about today is that of the blue brain and the red brain. We know that if you are in the red brain state, that means you are stressed, you are under duress, you are distracted, you are not your best self. We know that if you spend extended periods of time in this red brain state, that leads to things like burnout or safety incidents, or even things like generalized anxiety disorder or depression. What we're trying to do with resilience training, in particular mental fitness training, is try to get you into that blue brain state. We've all felt this as well, where we are feeling poised, where we are feeling confident, calm, feeling focused on our jobs, especially when we're doing a big task, something that requires our attention. We want to try and get you into this blue brain state as much as possible, especially when you are going into a high stress period like the summer and you need that summer preparedness. So today, one of those skills that we're going to talk about around getting you into that blue brain state is poise. Now, what is poise? You hear a lot about poise. Well, it is really the ability to experience stress and duress and still perform as desired, okay? So it's not the absence of stress. It's not the absence of experiencing that. It is experiencing that, but still performing as you need to in your day-to-day work, especially when you're carrying and transporting so many individuals. The metaphor that I like to see is with the duck. When you are under a stressful situation, you need to be calm on the surface, but you are still paddling like heck underneath the surface. That is what poise is all about. I want you to think of a stressful situation that you have been in the last couple weeks, or if you know you will be in a stressful situation. Again, we're talking about mental fitness around summer preparedness. Think for a moment about a special situation that is very stressful for you in the next couple of weeks, and we're going to work through the skills around poise. The first skill around poise is to name that stressor. Okay, when you're thinking about that stressful situation, put yourself in that moment. What is happening? And what is that thing that is stressing you out? We know that if you're able to say it to yourself in that moment, all right, you're able to prepare yourself by saying it and naming it, it actually reduces the intensity of that negative emotion, of that negative stressor. The second thing I'd ask you to do is to name your number. If we are looking on what we call in psychiatry a subjective unit of distress, that's basically a 0 to 10 of how stressed out you are. 0 being you are calm and cool as a cucumber. 10, you are very stressed. You're in that panic mode. When you are under duress and on a stressful situation, I want you to try and name your number. All right? Are you a 10? Are you a 7? You're feeling okay but quite stressed. You're feeling really calm. You're at like a 3. Are you Netflix and chill? You're at like a 2 at this moment. Okay? That is naming your number. We know through research, taking pictures of people's brains, measuring how much oxygen and blood goes to the stress areas of your brain, that if you can name the stressor and name your number while you're experiencing that stress, it reduces the intensity of that negative emotion. The third piece is around naming your brand. If we're talking about poise, we want to be on brand. What is brand? Well, we think about branding in terms of clothing. We think about branding in terms of putting a logo on an athlete. Your brand is essentially how you want to show up every single day. How you want people to talk about you when you are not there. When you're not in the lunchroom, what do people say when you walk out? What do you want them to say? In your line of work, you probably, I'm guessing, want people to think, you were calm, you were focused, you were safe, you're relatable. These are things that we all love to be in and amongst our colleagues. What is your brand? Think about this for a moment. For me, I want my brand to be someone who is engaging and also someone who is poised. I like if I can have that poise. So I want you to think of your brand and also reflect on that when you were in that stressful situation. I'll give you a quick example. When I have a 4-year-old at home. So when my 4-year-old does not want to go to bed, it's very stressful for me. What do? I name that stressor. I say, okay, this is stressful because my son won't listen to what I'm saying. I name that number. I'm stressed out at about a 7 or 8 out of 10. I want to get to bed. My 4-year-old son won't even go to bed. So I name the stressor. That reduces the intensity of it. What do I do next? Third thing is I name my brand. I say, how I want to show up as a father is calm and reasonable. Those are the things that I want to do when I'm a father, and that helps ground me in the moment when I am stressed out. So when you are practicing poise, I'd ask you to do those 3 things. You have a stressor in your work environment. I want you to name that stressor. I want you to name your number, how stressed out you are. I want you to name your brand. How do you want to show up in that moment consistently? And that is what poise is all about. You can practice poise on the Headversity platform. There are applications within the application that can help you do things like breathe or work through a negative thought or practice optimism at the end of each day. Again, if you have not downloaded Headversity, step 1 is to simply download it on the App Store or Google Play. Step 2 is to put in your team code, which is TEAMFT. And finally, get your resilience score and engage in daily resilience training. That's all for today. I want to thank you very much for joining us from Headversity. It was a great session to be with you today and talk about poise and mental fitness, knowing that you were going in to a very difficult time, a stressful time. And thank you from the bottom of my heart for all the work you are doing in keeping people safe every single day.
Okay, so if nobody has ever downloaded Headversity app, Go, like you said, go to Apple Play Store or App Store if you have an Apple. Go to Google Play if you have an Android phone. Download Headversity. Create it. Again, if you're an employee, it's Team, TEAM, FT, all one word. And if it's your family, it's FGA, FAM. If you forget these and you want to be interested, come down and see me and I will give you the login codes again. So, as we talk about other things, excessive heat can be dangerous. Wildfires. How does wildfire start a lot of times? Well, yeah, they start from carelessness, but they also can start from excessive heat. The ground gets dry, self-combusts. We're fortunate in the metropolitan area here that we don't have to deal with wildfires that often. However, we may have to deal with grass fires. But another side effect to forest fires, wildfires, grass fires is the smog. And that is something we deal with depending on where these fires are across the country. So again, prepare for areas of excessive heat, prepare for bad air climate conditions possibly during wildfires in other areas. So take the precautions. Again, keep yourself and others safe. Severe thunderstorms. Let's just talk about thunderstorms for a minute. Thunderstorms, I love thunderstorms. But the problem with them, they're very unpredictable. I think we can all agree that all thunderstorms are potentially dangerous. They're not all, but they are potentially dangerous. Storms can produce heavy rain, hail. They could lead to tornadoes or flash flooding. So we see one key factor here: heavy rain, flash flooding. Now, I hope I never have to deal with one of our drivers in a situation like this, driving through this deep puddle. So you ask yourself, why is that such a problem? Well, what people forget about are the currents. They forget about the forces that are involved in the water. Even though this is freestanding water in the middle of an intersection, there are still forces. That water has to travel somewhere, which creates force. Take example, this vehicle right here. What if the water pushes that vehicle into the bus? We look at this. Mass times velocity squared equals a force that these things travel at. So, you guys know, your bus gets in there, it floods, no big deal. They're solid, they're tight. Well, yeah, you guys don't know they're not real airtight or solid. So water can leak in there easily. What do? What if you have a passenger strapped down? What if the water starts coming in faster? What if that intersection is deeper than you thought? We don't know what's happening underneath there. So you've got to be cautious as you go in there. First thing is know your route. Unfortunately, we're not a fixed route system. We're a demand route, which means even though you may have the same route, number of your route changes daily. Don't drive through standing water. Stop the vehicle in a safe location. If you're utilizing those 5 keys of Smith, first one, aim high in steering. Get the big picture. Number 2, keep your eyes moving. If you've done all these, hopefully you've been able to see that water puddle, and you can stop back here like where this car is at. They stopped. They were smart. So park your bus in a safe location. Turn the flashers on. Let people know there's a problem. Notify dispatch. Let them know what's going on. Dispatch, I'm stuck in an area where the water has flooded, and I'm going to have to sit for the water recessor until they can direct me out of here. You know, let dispatch know what's going on. So the biggest things we run into at the location is people not letting dispatch know, so dispatch can get back out to the passengers that may be waiting for you. So, you know, just keep people informed. Communication, we've talked about that. Don't let passengers off the vehicle into standing water. What if they can't swim? What if they're afraid of water? What if you can't swim? You're afraid of water. You know, don't put yourself in harm's way. You step down in that, the current from that water can take your legs out. All of a sudden you're laying on your back and you're underneath that water. So be aware of the dangers of flooding in standing water. Something I think we all are aware of, and we can talk about even without being in our buses. Maybe you've been in your personal vehicle, your personal truck, and the winds have pushed you all over the road. And that's just a small personal vehicle. Think about your bus now. That vehicle's like a sail waiting to catch the winds. So, and then the thing with winds too is we don't know what's happening. Be calm as can be. And next thing you know, those winds have picked up. Now you got gusts, you got sustained winds. A lot of things going on, so you have to be very cautious about winds. I think we can all agree, winds can be very problematic. High winds can affect maneuvering and the handling of our high-profile vehicles. Remember, they got a high center of gravity. High-profile vehicles become sails like I talked about. They can capture the wind, which makes maneuvering and handling your vehicle challenging. Not only should we be aware of our vehicles, but other high vehicles around us as well. Remember Smith, the key system number 4. We talked about 1, 2, and 3. But how about 4? Leave yourself an out. What if a vehicle around you gets blown around or loses control? If you leave yourself an out, you can hopefully avoid some kind of catastrophe. So be aware of weather forecasts, potential high wind warnings. One of the things about storms, heat, well, a lot of us carry smartphones these days or have smartphones. Okay, I understand not everybody does, but a lot of us do. Some of these things will come across your phone automatically of high weather warnings or severe fire or whatever it could be. But also, a lot of us think we have weather apps on our phones that we have them. So, there are other tools we can use. Another tool we have to be aware of weather warnings is the Transit Connect app. How many of you have downloaded that Transit Connect app you use? We're going to start using it as a location, so you need to have it out there because that may be some of the only communication we'll be able to get from us on some things. Be cautious when exiting tunnels or overpasses. Another part of thunderstorms, potentially funnel clouds and tornadoes. Keep in mind, we don't need thunderstorms for tornadoes or funnels to occur. But what happens if you see one? Look at the picture on the upper right-hand corner. Funnel clouds ahead of you? Turn away from it. In this case, they made a right-hand turn and are trying to drive away from it. Don't drive into these things. What should you consider when a funnel cloud is sighted? Funnel clouds are funnel-shaped clouds of condensed water droplets associated with rotating columns of wind exceeding from the base of the funnel, but not reaching the ground or water surface. Tornadoes are violently rotating columns of air that extend from the ground to the thunderstorm. So if you see a tornado on the ground or a funnel cloud, you may want to let dispatch know what's going on again. Immediately contact them. Drive away from the funnel area. Don't drive into it. Stay in your vehicle. Another thing we can see that we don't have to deal with here in Minnesota that can also be problemsome is hurricanes. Hurricanes are one of nature's most powerful storms. They produce very strong winds. They produce storm surge flooding and heavy rain. They can lead to flooding, tornadoes, and rip currents. And sometimes afterwards you even get tsunamis. Yeah, I know we don't have them here saying, "Oh, Tracy, why are we talking about this today?" Remember, this is just not stuff you use at work. It's stuff you can use with your family. Talk to your friends about it. Maybe decide to take a vacation to somewhere nice where there's water in the around the ocean, and you don't realize it's hurricane season or tropical storm season. Again, be prepared by understanding the weather reports. Now, I love this sign, storm ahead. Wouldn't it be great if life had a sign on the roadway all the time where you storm ahead, mental breakdown ahead, road construction ahead? Oh, we do have that one. But, something would tell us. Hopefully you see that dark clouds and you start thinking, man, is that something I want to drive into? Ask yourself those questions. Should I head there? Should I seek another route? Should I seek some safety? What's the best deal to do? Again, when severe weather occurs, we have to take actions. Again, check the forecast prior to coming to your shift. Assess the risk. We're going to come back to that. Notify dispatch. Turn on your hazards. Reduce your speed. So, as it says, check the forecast prior to coming to your shift. Assess the risk. Guess what? You guys are constantly and continuously assessing risk every day. You do that by such things as going, I need to make a right-hand turn up here. Is it safe? Can I make a right-hand turn on a red? Do I have to wait? Can I change lanes? What do I do if I sit here to pick up my passenger? This is stuff you're doing. So you're still assessing the risk you guys do every day. It's just a different type of risk. We're assessing the risk of the weather conditions at this point. Notify dispatch of things that are out of the ordinary. Turn on your hazards. Remember, those hazard lights are yellow. What are yellow lights? I know you know this. When are yellow? That's right. They're caution. Hazard. They let people behind you know what's going on. They are a non-verbal communication tool that we can use to let others know what's going on. Reduce your speed. Again, reducing speed helps you create a greater following distance and gives you better control and maneuverability of that vehicle. Find a safe location to weather the storm, so to speak. So we ask ourselves, how can we better prepare for increased traffic and our ridership? As you guys all know, our ridership has increased. At our peak, we're at about 2,900 rides a day. We dropped down to about 600. Now we're sitting back around 2,000 to 2,100 rides a day. But what you've noticed is we've increased the number of passengers on the bus one time. You can now have 2 passengers or 3 healthcare workers. Keep in mind, they still have to socially distance when you put them on that bus. So I want to ask you this question and pose this to you. In the last 14 months, as the pandemic's been going on, we've seen the amount of traffic decrease. But yet we've seen the number of fatalities on our roadways increase to the point greater than they have been for decades. Not just a year, but for decades, plural. Why is that happening? Why is that happening? Speed? Yeah. And the problem is, people are to say, I can do this, and no one's going to stop me. There's not much traffic. Well, even as we see traffic start picking up, these people still are driving like you probably heard the analogy, drive it like you stole it. Well, they're driving their vehicles like they stole them from somewhere. So what tools can help you and your passengers stay safe? Well, the best tool we have is the 5 keys of Smith. We have ways to keep people safe, communicate with each other so we know what's going on. Communication, 5 keys of Smith, some of the best tools we have, and we're always here to help you. We're going to talk about passengers entering and exiting buses. This is where we see a lot of our injuries occur. You guys have all heard 3-point contact. You've heard the term last step. Well, this is giving us a new version of this, because passengers may not always pay attention during the boarding and unboarding process. Passengers may trip and fall while entering or exiting the bus. So I ask you, how can we help passengers avoid slip, trip, and fall injuries when entering or exiting our vehicles? As I said, this is some of the biggest things that happen, not only for us, but slip, trip, and fall injuries are one of the biggest injuries that happen nationwide at all types of businesses. So that's why we have 3-point contact, last step. You may have to watch them. Communicate with your passengers. Here's something new for you to look at. Hold, look, and land. Remind your passengers, and this is done through contacting, but through communication. Hold the handrails. Look where you're stepping. Land carefully. Land carefully. That's that last step piece. Holding the handrails and walking where you step. That's 3-point contact. So remember, hold, look, and land. Hold the handrails, look where they step, land carefully. Where we are having a big problem currently is ambulatory passengers wanting to use the lift, which under the Americans with Disability Act, they're able to do so. But the problem is they're getting on, holding on to their walkers. The lift starts to go up. Guess what? They tip backwards because that's not secure. If they're going to do that, make sure they hold on to the handrails of the lift. That way they've got something to securely hang on to. It's like holding on to the handrail in a bus. Another thing we have to worry about, as you guys know, as your lift comes down. If you go too far, that little piece that covers the gap between the bus and the lift comes up. We've had people step through there this last year and get hurt. How can we stop that? Remind the passengers, do not step on the lift until I tell you it's safe to do so. You get it in place and you tell your passengers, okay, it is now safe to step on the lift. Hold the handrails, and I'm ready to drop the lift. Are you ready? So again, hold, look, and land. Very important to not only maintain the safety of yourself, but safety of our passengers. Let me know if you see anything wrong in this situation so far. See anything wrong? I see a few things. See anything wrong yet? How about there? Talk about holding on. That passenger is not holding on. We're fortunate in our vehicles because we don't have people standing up. All our people sit down. We strap them all in. That's why it's important to make sure the passengers wear their seatbelts. You make sure you strap the wheelchair riders in. Again, this goes back to the force thing we talked about. People do not understand forces. Remember, force equals mass times velocity squared. Now we can figure out what kind of force she was traveling at. I'm just speculating here, but let's say she's a 120-pound person and the bus is traveling at 20 miles. We can calculate the force she's traveling at. What if that bus had some centrifugal force shift or something? That person, instead of going straight through here, could have shifted over and hit that driver, taking that driver out. Now what happens to the rest of the passenger on the bus? You're setting yourself up for a bigger collision. So you need to be aware on your surroundings. Make sure the passengers are all seated and secured prior to taking off. So just like we've talked about for the last 14 months, slow the spread of this nasty COVID virus. Stay vigilant and continue to follow the practices below, at work and outside of work. Wear a mask that fits. Cover your nose and mouth and chin. Stay 6 feet apart from others. Social distance. We escort people. I know we're currently escorting with social distancing, but we still need to escort them. We still need to be there to help them if something happens. If you haven't done it, consider getting a COVID vaccination. In Minnesota, that's how the mask is coming off in some places. You can go mask-free if you have completed your COVID vaccinations. Avoid crowds in poorly vented spaces. Wash your hands often with soap and water. Stay home if you're sick. I'm going to read this to you in two different ways. It says avoid contact with anyone who has been infected. I'm going to change that to tell you avoid contact with anyone who may have been infected. Do you want to take the chance? Well, I'm infected. Well, I was with somebody. Do you want to take the chance? May have been. Stay away from anybody who may have been infected. So, to summarize this, we hope you feel more confident in your ability to perform when you're prepared. Remember, it's like taking a test. You don't go take a test. Well, some people may take a test without studying, but a lot of us study prepare before we take tests. It's no different going to work. It's no different than going on a family picnic or whatever you might be doing. We heard Dr. Ryan Todd talk about mental fitness and how important it is to be prepared for any situation we encounter. Think about that duck on a pond. People may look cool, calm, and collective, but they may not be inside. The duck on the pond legs are going with people. It might be somebody inside. We don't know what's going on inside their bodies, what's going on in their minds. Remember, hold, look, land. 3-point contact, last step. These are done to prevent slip, trip, and fall injuries for ourselves and our passengers, maybe even our family members. If you feel the sense that anyone wishes to say something, allow them to comment before moving in and out of the bus. We want to listen to our people. We want to be able to have them communicate with us as well as we communicate with them. Safety becomes a part of our core values. It is part of First Transit's core values. You're going to hear us talk about this a lot this year. Think safe, act safe, be safe. Think safe, act safe, be safe. If we think about safety, if we act safely, hopefully we will be safe. So again, think safe, act safe, and be safe. And that is what I have for you guys today in the May 2021 Period 2 Safety and Service meeting. Next Safety and Service meetings are going to be held the second week of June. Sign-up sheets will be out by the 27th of May. Please sign up. Remember, these are mandatory meetings. Watching them on video or watching them through the YouTube channel is a secondary offense if you cannot make it in person. Excuse me. Remember, we want to see you here. So, take time out of your day to make sure you attend these meetings. Very good information here, and it's a great help for everybody. With that, I bid you farewell, and see you next month.